Kanye's last classic was when?
That's a great question because I wouldn't say Life of Pablo is a classic album.
What?
It has definitely.
That's a classic album, Xavier.
Why? Because of Ultralight Beam.
Because of Ultralight Beam into that beautiful morning, into the Designer song that he stole from Designer and put on his album.
The conversation you're not ready to have is Yeezus has more classic songs than The Life of Pablo.
You're lying.
So if we're keeping
Stop.
it, if you're trying to say The Life of Pablo is a classic, then I'll double up and say that Yeezus is Kanye's last classic album.
Stop it. You already know Yeezus is not a classic album.
Yeezus is 10 tracks. 4 of them, not even arguably, 4 of them are straight up classic songs. And the other 6 are great records. So if you're telling me The Life of Pablo is a classic, then Yeezus is a classic for
Do you
sure.
need me to pull up the track list, sir?
For The Life of Pablo?
Yes.
Ultralight Beam, Wolves, Saint Pablo.
This is everyday hip hop. We are starting out with Kanye debate. Right now, I am Cayman. He is Xavier. We are here with another episode for you guys, doing a couple music album reviews. But this topic of discussion is important. Kanye is one of the best artists that we've ever seen, and you're going to get into later the phases of what Kanye was and what Kanye is now, from College Dropout to now Vultures too. But I want to have this little debate with you real quick first. Okay. So, Life of Pablo, and then we'll go to Yeezus.
This ain't cheddar.
Oh, my.
This ain't cheddar.
I can't spell, but it still got me.
We're looking at The Life of Pablo.
Life of Pablo. Ultralight Beam. Classic song. Father Stretch My Hands. Classic song. Part 2. Classic song, because that was the Designer part. I got bras in Atlanta.
I'll give you
Yes.
that.
Famous. Classic song. All the Taylor Swift controversy. Feedback. Really good song.
Okay.
Lowlights. Really okay. It was an okay song.
Yeah, really an okay song.
Yeah.
Really
Highlights. I really liked Highlights. We went
Highlights.
Yeah. Freestyle 4.
I really do.
I liked it. I Love Kanye was a great skit.
I'll give I Love Kanye a classic.
Okay.
But that's a skit. That's a classic skit. He has multiple classic skits through his career.
Waves was a great song.
Waves is a great song.
FML, I know you like that song.
I do like that song.
Real Friends, great song.
Real Friends.
Almost classic
Almost
song.
a classic song. I give you that.
Wolves, great song. We had heard snippets of Wolves for 2 years prior before Life of Pablo.
Wolves would have been a classic song if he left Frank on the track.
But he had Frank's track. Next track.
But, dude, you gave Frank 30 seconds. Put him on the dang song.
Silver Surfer intermission. I mean, that was cool.
It was cool.
30 Hours, classic beat, classic song. No More Parties in L.A. Kendrick killed that. Kanye did it. It's a classic. Facts was a good song. Facts. He had 2 different versions of that. Fade, Tiana Taylor video.
Yeah.
And Saint Pablo. You liked Saint Pablo as well.
So and how many classic records is that, Cayman?
It's damn near
3?
Stop.
That was 3. Ultralight Beam.
I just stop. No Parties in L.A.
No Parties in L.A.
Fade.
Fade is not a classic song.
It's a classic moment.
But that's not
impact of an album. It goes into it being a classic. Impact of an album. Yes, that Tiana Taylor video did what it did, and Kanye got notoriety and fame from that. Tiana Taylor blew up after that.
Bro, Ultralight Beam, Father Stretch My Hands.
Famous.
I'll give him
Famous.
Frank's tracks included into Wolves.
Waves.
Waves is not a classic song. That's 3.
Stop.
He has 3. So
Real Friends.
And it's 20.
Real Friends.
Life of Pablo is 20 songs. We gave him a modest 4 classics.
But those were all good.
Yeezus
those were all above
records.
quality songs.
Yeezus, pull up. Go to Yeezus.
All right, we're going to Yeezus.
Go to Yeezus. 10 records. I'll tell you that right now. 10 records.
I do not think Yeezus is a classic album.
That's because you're a hater.
What?
Yeezus was ahead of its time.
It was.
Yeezus came out in 2013. Nobody was ready for this. You know how much of a classic album this was, Cayman? I remember in my freshman year, my honors English class, our teacher had us watch the the Black Skinheads video and write a discussion on that.
Really?
Yeezus is a classic album. 2013, Kanye West, Yeezus, the new alter ego, 10 records. Black Skinhead, classic.
Okay.
New Slaves, classic.
Okay.
Blood on the Leaves, classic.
Okay.
Bound 2, including the video with him and Kim Kardashian on the motorcycle.
Yes.
Classic song and classic moments, if you want to talk about moments. That's 4.
That's 4.
On a 10 track. Guilt Trip, great song. Hold My Liquor, great song.
Good song.
Hold My Liquor is a great song. Hold on.
What else? What else?
Everything else is okay.
Okay.
Everything else is okay. But that's only like 4 other songs. So 8 are amazing to classic records. If we're saying Life of Pablo is a classic, Yeezus is definitely a classic album. And I would argue Yeezus is Kanye's last classic album. Because after Yeezus, we have Life of Pablo, Ye, Kids See Ghost. Then we start going downhill pretty fast. Jesus is King, Donda, Vultures 1, and Vultures 2.
Okay. So,
I feel like it's pretty fair to say that Yeezus 2013 is the last classic album Kanye gave us.
all right, yeah. So going through his career, he comes out 04. He has College Dropout, comes right back, gives us Late Registration, 808, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, where everybody pretty much realized he reached the peak pinnacle of who he was as an artist. That was one of the great pieces of art ever. Explain to me the different eras of Kanye West.
I like that you also mentioned that at My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is my personal favorite Kanye album, which is also a classic. He reached that tipping point of where else can I go?
Right.
What more can I do with music? And I do believe the following year when he drops Watch the Throne with Jay-Z, I feel like that is the last era we have of Kanye West. Following Watch the Throne in 2011, we enter the era of Ye, which is, we start with Yeezus, but Ye is really just an amplified version of Yeezus. Everything just really hasn't come to surface yet. We start to go downhill as far as where the music is going to go. We start to go downhill with Yeezus, but still, we do get some great moments within that chaos with Yeezus. Following that up with Life of Pablo, I would say we're still in that Yeezus era. So from College Dropout to Watch the Throne, that's Kanye West. Yeezus to Jesus is King, that's Ye.
Okay.
This new nigga, who is YS? YS is responsible for Donda, Vultures 1, and Vultures 2.
Hey.
Who is YS? What is a YS?
And it's important that we categorize the person who we're talking about. Like Kanye West, that person from 04 to 2011 who did College Dropout to Watch the Throne, probably impeccable record, probably the apex of what you say an artist is, probably the greatest or one of the greatest artists of all time, undeniable about that.
Right, because even with all of the chaos, the turmoil with Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson, even with all that, Kanye's records are still, we can say, pretty flawless in comparison to the average artist.
1000%.
Even though we had got a lot of mid projects, Kanye's mid projects still are, compared to like some of these other artists, are still really great.
Right.
We just are going to judge that. I'm going to judge every album like College Dropout. I'm going to judge every album like My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Right.
I'm going to judge every album like Yeezus. I don't care if it is Vultures 1. I'm still looking through the lens
of who Kanye is and what he has done.
Yeah, so when you're doing all this mumbling and humming and fuckaditas on the record, yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. It's who you are now. it's not gonna cut it coming forward though.
Right. Would you draw this parallel? I'm thinking about it in my head, and it's kind of like how people do LeBron James now. He's 40 years old. He's probably did every single thing you could do as a basketball player. He leads the league in all-time scoring. He's 40,000 points. He's over, I don't know how many, 10K and 10K assists and rebounds. He's like this all-time player. But when it comes to April, May, and June, he's still going to be judged on this scale of what he's done before. Like, I still need LeBron. People still have the expectation that LeBron will deliver and take the Lakers to a championship every single year, because he's did that back in his past. Even though he's 39 and 40 past his prime, people will still expect the same thing from LeBron James. And I think Kanye West is the same way. Music in reality is a young man's sport, and time goes on, your sound changes, and Kanye has been one of the greatest in evolving into the new sound. And that's why you see when we talk about this album, the Little Durk features and the newer guys features, and trying to do a joint album with Ty Dolla $ign. He's trying to stay in the mode of being what the young people need. So it's just interesting to see how these older people can still maneuver in these games that are usually meant for the younger person anyway.
Right. And that evolution really is very interesting.
Right.
Vultures 2 to College Dropout is an entirely different artist.
Exactly.
The evolution of Kanye is like when that movie comes out. Besides, we ain't talking about the documentary.
Yeah.
But when that movie comes out, it's gonna be a crazy story for sure. But I'm still going to judge you through the eyes of your work.
Exactly.
I don't care if it is your 40th year in the league. You're still in the league.
Right.
And the difference is, I would say, with that comparison between LeBron and Kanye, is that LeBron is still able to compete at that high level. Although Kanye's records sound okay with Vultures 1 and Vultures 2, I don't think he's really competing at that high of a level anymore.
Right.
He's just making mid records. And if we're being really honest, there's a few songs on Vultures 2 that if Kanye would have just not touched it, it would have been a great song. There's a few songs where we have features from Lil Wayne,
right,
Ty Dolla $ign, of course,
right,
Lil Baby, Durk, and there's a few songs where Kanye starts off really good in the beginning, but then we get 2-3 minutes of just nonsense.
Right.
Very much moments that you could have just left off the song. And as you mentioned, there are a few songs that really just do sound unfinished. Like, I understand that Kanye is known for kind of dropping a record or dropping a song, then making little edits here and there as the album progresses, as people listen to it, hear a little feedback. Okay, I'm going to edit that.
Right.
Which I don't mind, but at the same time, it feels like I'm just getting an unfinished project. Just finish the project first. Give me what you think is correct.
Right.
Then let us base our opinion. Don't make me keep having to change what I got to say about your project because you find out people don't like this piece and that piece.
Right.
Like, I like the fact that he is concerned about the consumer, but at the end of the day, art is supposed to be your imitation of your reality. So don't try to shape your reality through what people you think what people want to see.
Right. And it's like, I don't think people, like, we didn't need this now. Like, you could have stayed and waited and did what you needed to do. You said Vultures was coming out back in June or something like that, and it never came out. Like, we know Kanye is notorious for just saying an album is coming out and it never comes out. Like
that's literally the entire reason I really got Twitter, because I was like, dude, when is Kanye dropping this Life of Pablo? Like, he keep talking like he about to drop this album. He's not dropping the album. But for the last few years, Kanye has been giving us just projects that we could have honestly just gone without. Like, what is the last project from Kanye that you're like, I wanted this?
What was that tweet that we saw that you sent in the group chat? It was something about, I wish his legacy would have ended at what?
Oh, shoot. I wish his legacy ended at Watch the Throne.
Right.
I'll give him Yeezus. But if Kanye's legacy ended with Life of Pablo, I would say his record is like untouchable.
But I also think that Donda was a really good album.
Yes.
Pablo was a really good album. So not having those is kind of like, those
Pablo.
were good errors.
End with Pablo.
Okay, end with Pablo.
If Kanye West's career ended with Pablo, I would say his record is untouchable.
Right.
But I didn't mind the Kids See Ghost, but we didn't need it. I didn't mind Vultures 2, but we didn't need it.
Right.
I didn't mind Donda. I didn't mind Jesus is King. I think Donda was actually a really great artistic album.
Right.
I would put Donda in the same category that I would put Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm not gonna be like, that's a classic album, because that's not something you're not listening to each song independently. That's an album that you have to listen from start to finish.
There you go.
Because each song is so interconnected through the theme that it just doesn't make sense on its own.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say that's a classic album, because you can't just listen to each song.
Listen, Drake fans.
But as an artistic moment, we're just talking straight art. Donda and Life of Pablo, or excuse me, Donda and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers are in a category of their own.
Okay, gotcha.
So I would hate to say I didn't need that, but when is the last time you gone back to Donda?
Some songs, especially that Andre 3000 one that he dropped later. That
you don't even like Andre 3000 no more.
I just want that man to drop a damn album.
He did.
But
he did.
Not that type of album. Not that type of album. Looking back at who Kanye was then and looking at back at who Kanye was now, let's get into a little bit about this album. Vultures 2 came out. Vultures 2, Kanye West, Ty Dolla $ign, YS. When I click on YS, this is what pops up.
Kanye in a white mask.
There you go. So
interesting.
Very interesting.
So how do I know when I'm listening to Kanye and when I'm listening to YS?
That's my question as well.
I have the answer. When the niggas start fucking the song up.
Exactly, that's YS. There you go. So this was a 16. I have 16 tracks on here right now. He has been uploading and re-editing and doing X, Y, and Z with this album. So this is what we have now. Xavier, this is Everyday Hip Hop, and we asked this question: are you rocking with it or are you dropping it?
I'm rocking with it.
Okay, rocking with it.
I'm not really mad at the album. I'm just mad at the fact that it sounds unfinished.
Right. I'm
mad at the fact that at least 4 to 5 songs started off really great, and then Kanye is the reason it ended bad. Mm-hmm. I'm mad at the fact that he starts mumbling and freestyling at the end of a great record. He kind of ruined a lot of these songs, but giving it the benefit of the doubt because the production was still amazing. Giving that the benefit of the doubt, I'm still rocking with the album. The latter half of the album, starting with Lifestyle, River, 530, Forever Rolling,
right,
Sky City, and My Soul.
Yeah, that last part of the album
really picked up for me.
Right.
And it was kind of like Kanye kicked YS out the building. And he said, I got it from here.
Right.
I would say that Sky City is my favorite song off the album. But Sky City, Forever Rolling, and My Soul, I would say are the most we're gonna get of Kanye in a while, or the most we've gotten from Kanye in a while. He's really just been on this, I don't even really know what to call it at this point with this whole Vultures. I'm not sure what this energy is, but the last 3 songs of this album, Vultures 2,
was solid.
Favorite. That was Kanye.
Right. Yeah, production was great.
Oh yeah, production was great.
Production was great, but there was questions of if Kanye was going to ruin the song, like you said. Like, it's crazy, and I said this off air. When you got them niggas, Big Sean, Sci-Hi still in the building, writing verses and doing stuff, but Kanye had a good camp and team. There was times where there would be 3 different niggas in the studio. I'm going here first. I'm gonna go in there and see what they doing and what they like. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna stay in here, or I'm gonna go to the other studio. I got 3 different studios going on and 3 different sounds and productions, and I'm Kanye West, and this is how I do it. So Kanye had a great team over in Good Music at the time where he was at his precipice as an artist. So to hear him now, you can see that backing and support when it comes to the rhymes. And it's really literally ruining songs.
Right.
530 was one of my favorite songs, and then mumbling.
3 minutes of nonsense.
Right. But yeah, very solid. How do we rank these new Kanye albums in his discography?
That's a great question because listening to Vultures 1 and 2, it sounds like I'm listening to a new artist that is trying to discover themselves. And when I know I'm listening to Kanye, it's weird to say with Vultures 1 and 2, I see a lot of potential of what he is trying to become now, but it's just not there yet. There's a lot of misses. And I know it is if he just needs to take his time. This feels really forced, but at the same time, there is a lot of potential in this album. That's why I'm gonna rock with it. He showed me a lot of. I know Kanye, like a Kendrick Lamar, he's never gonna give us the same album twice.
Right.
Kind of got that with Vultures 1 and 2 a little bit, but it's Vultures 1
and 2. Yeah. So it's a continuation.
Yeah, it's a continuation.
Right.
But Kanye, as we mentioned after we broke down his career, he is going to give us a new sound, and if there's not a new sound, he's going to invent a new sound.
Right.
So I understand he's trying to go into a new direction, and I think I'm there for it.
Okay. Well, to be continued on what Kanye will be doing with this album, editing unedited version.
Right.
But Vultures 2, I'm going to say confidently, I'm going to give it about a 7.5 to 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I feel like that's a solid 7, solid 7.5.
Solid 7, solid 7.5.
Not maybe a top 5 album of the year at all.
No.
But we'll get into it. I think I would take this over Killer Mike's album.
All right, and this is going to be a great segue because, you get a feeling sometimes, and me and Xavier, we've known each other for a long time. We've been friends for a very, very long time. I think I kind of know his music taste. I think he kind of knows my music taste. We've been around each other. We know what kind of records we like and stuff like that. So, I was listening to that Killer Mike album, and what I really start to enjoy is listening to new albums where I'm like out at the park just shooting and playing basketball and stuff like that. Got my headphones in, just shooting around. It's like peace and serenity for me. And like listening to new music is like great in that climate for me. So I listened to that Killer Mike album, and I was like, okay, this really bumps. I really liked the production on it. I really liked one of the records was Offset on there, and I think that was one of the great. I've not heard Offset in that do a verse that good in a while. I would say
that was a really good verse.
It was a really good verse. Production great, and Killer Mike is killing on the production side of albums. Like Michael was pristine. Yes. Grammy award winning deservingly. I don't even want to use Grammys as a factor of what a great album is anyway, because they don't be knowing shit anyway, but it still was a Grammy, and that was very important to him to show that Atlanta got a Grammy, even though he got arrested that night.
Yeah, I was trying not to say that. Even though he did get arrested after
Beach
that.
to it. But so I thought this was a very great album after Michael, and you think your friend's music taste. I'm like, Xavier, listen to this. You gonna like this album. And I was like, we're gonna talk about it on the podcast and everything. And I called Xavier earlier, and I was like, yeah, we could go pod. And you listen to the Killer Mike album? He was like, yeah, I listened to it. And he didn't say it in like a joyful way. He was just like, yeah, I listened to it. And I was like, oh. I was like, how you like it? He was like, He was like, I don't know if I like it that much. No. And I was like, dang. And it's like, you just get that feeling like, dang, you thought you knew your friend's music taste, but maybe they just in a different era right now. You say you was listening to other music as well.
Right. I've been listening to a lot of metal lately.
There you go.
But
what do you think about Killer Mike's album?
It was a good album.
Okay.
It's a good album. My only issue with it is kind of similar to Vultures 2. Okay. It just sounds unfinished.
Okay.
Coming off of Michael, as you mentioned, Grammy Award winning album, was one of my personal favorite albums of the year. It was my second favorite album of the year. I would have gave it first, but second favorite album of the year. Coming off of that, which was a great album from start to finish, very concise, cohesive. Production and lyricism throughout the album, even with his features. It was a great project. Coming off of that, it wasn't that long ago. It just happened.
Right.
So I still have a strong feeling of how much I like that album and why. So coming into Killer Mike's new album,
Michael and the Mighty Midnight Revival, Songs for Sinners and Saints.
Songs for the Sinners and Saints. I'm expecting something of similar quality.
Okay.
I feel like it just came too soon after, and it does sound a little bit rushed. There were a few songs on there, like you mentioned, the Exit 9, which was on his Michael.
Right, there was other things on this album that I heard on Michael.
Right. Yeah, so Exit 9 was on Michael. Now we just get an Offset feature.
Right.
Which I was not mad at all.
It was a really good verse.
It's been a while since I had an Offset verse that I actually truly enjoyed
right,
and really kind of wanted to go back to.
Right.
So that was really appreciated, and even got a little shout out to Project Pat and Key Glock.
Oh yeah,
still talking that shit.
Right.
The last record of the song, but we have a 10-track album, and I would say at least half of the album, in my opinion, I was able to download that I would listen to again. The other 4 songs just weren't. I just wasn't feeling it too much.
That's a good album. Oh, okay.
It was solid. It was a good album.
You're saying solid good.
It was a good
You're
album.
saying solid good, but
it was solid.
What Michael was.
Yeah, I'm just gonna still compare it to the album
Right.
he recently dropped because it's just so close together,
Right.
and it just is not the same quality or the same. It's really just not the same depth or quality as Michael was, and unfortunately, there are a few albums that I would take over this. So, I will not be putting Killer Mike in 2024 in my top 5 albums of the year, but there are still a lot of records such as the Bustin' Bricks intro, Nobody Knows, Higher Level, Exit 9, and Still Talking That Shit that I will definitely go back to. The other songs for me just felt a little rushed.
Okay. Not
In
mad at that.
comparison, at least.
Yeah, definitely not mad at that. If you guys didn't, go check out that Killer Mike album. I think this was like he said, really good album, but this is the kind of rap that I'm just glad the rap dudes are out this year. You know what I'm saying? We're getting different levels. We started with Schoolboy. We had the biggest beef. A lot of people have dropped this year. A lot of people are going to drop. I still haven't even been able to review this year, really. But a lot of people have dropped. Vince Staples has a underrated album this year. Rhapsody has a great album this year. So
right, even sleepers like Gunna dropped this year.
Gunna had a pretty good, solid album this year too.
You know who we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about that Billie Eilish album though.
Everyday hip hop. Everyday.
Hey, it was a good album though.
Everyday hip hop.
But we got Larry June.
That was a great album.
Eminem,
from what I'm hearing, Eminem,
Lupe Fiasco,
right,
came out with a real sleeper album, one of my personal favorites.
Shout out
to
Lupe.
In a bit. We'll get into what we think are top three albums.
Okay, I can give you 3. Yeah, I can give you 3. I can give you 3. Before we get to that, really quick, Mulatto album.
Dang, bro, she changed her name. You can't call her Mulatto. You know we made her change her name, right?
Latto.
That's Latto. That's Big Mama.
Big Mama. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, that's why we got edit. The Latto album came out. I went through it. She can rap.
She can rap.
She had that Get in the Booth bitch shirt on, and I know why she had that shirt on. I remember seeing her on the show with Jermaine Dupri, The Rap Game, and I don't know what happened, but I believe she won the first season. She ended up not getting signed to Jermaine Dupri. You see her come on the scene maybe 3, 4, or 5 years later by herself. I don't know what happened with that relationship, but she has, in my estimation, gotten better and better to a point where she is like in this generation of women superstars, and it looks like she wants the mantle. It looks like she wants to get better, and that's what you got to see from people. And I think this album was really good. Skim through it, you know.
Dang, not the skim.
It was playing, but I didn't really get to she can rap. That's all I'm saying. There were some records on there where I'm saying like, okay, she got some records that you could play in the car. Where she's really spazzing lyrically. She has that gift. So what did you think about the Latto album?
I was very surprised. Latto gave us a album that I wouldn't say is in the realm of what a lot of female rappers, more mainstream female rappers, have been giving us lately. She still gave us some of that, what we all want, some of that ratchet rap, of course. But then she leveled it off with duets with artists like Tizo Touchdown. We got some songs we can play in the gym. We got some songs that we can chill out to and listen to.
Right.
Then we got the club songs, of course. So she really did show us some dimension, and she really got up in that booth. I was seeing a lot of comparisons to like a Jeezy, which I honestly I'm not too mad at. Her flow was sounding real like Southern to me. Honestly,
yeah, she's Atlanta, and that's the Atlanta king
I'm down for the Southern rap. You know, we like Project Pat, we like 8 Ball and UGK, so we real educated when it comes to some Southern rap, and I feel like she was definitely holding her own on some songs with Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion,
yeah, Flo Milli,
which Flo Milli killed it, but she was definitely holding her own with some more, I would say, veteran artists, even outshining some, I would say. So the beginning of the album was a little slow for me. It did definitely pick up at the midway point, starting at about, was it Copper Cove with Huncho? The boy Huncho.
Shout out boy Huncho.
Shout out the boy Huncho. But starting at Copper Cove, it really did pick up for me. So Copper Cove and Liquor, Squeeze with Meg Thee Stallion. Meg Thee Stallion did show out on that song, I would say, so I did like that. Sierra did her thing as well on Good to You. She came in. She was giving us some slow things too, some little nice joints.
Okay.
Got a song with Mariah the Scientist.
Yes, sir.
Look What You Did. Followed by Prized Possessions with my boy Tizo Touchdown, which was a very nice and unexpected duet.
Okay.
I don't know the last duet I've ever seen in a hip hop album. But Tizo, I feel like she used Tizo perfectly. We've seen him on other projects with artists like Drake, where he seems to kind of just force himself to align with whatever artist he's making that song with, which is a kind of a waste of a talent of an artist like Tizo, who's in his kind of a lane of his own. But Latto kind of does the opposite, and she kind of wants to mimic what Tizo is known for. So we get a little bit of a dimension in what different sounds and flows we can get from Latto.
Right.
So I would definitely say Latto is up there for our women rappers at this point.
And she had a good mix in her album, which is always great.
Definitely.
Right.
Meg Thee Stallion,
Right,
Flo
right,
Milli, Tizo, Mariah the Scientist, Sierra.
Ooh.
We can't forget Coco Jones.
Shout out Coco. You look good. I'm just saying.
So I would give the album a solid 8.
Okay.
I'll give it a solid 8.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'm interested for what more she will bring us. I feel like she will change the rankings as far as who is in the top 5 women rappers at this point.
We'll come back definitely come back to that with a list, because I do want to really think about that thoroughly and think about who are the top 5 women rappers in the game right now.
Right. Even just look at the some of the women that have dropped albums this year. We got some albums from Meg Thee Stallion. And I would say we could talk about that in a little bit if you want, but comparing Meg's album to Latto's album, I wouldn't say they're near in the same realm.
Really? Explain more.
I feel like the thing with Meg Thee Stallion is we know what kind of song she's going to give us. She really hasn't steered too far away from where she started at. She's kind of just, I wouldn't say reinvented herself, but kind of just perfected her sound.
Right.
So it's come to the point where, she just perfected being Meg Thee Stallion. Right. So when she drops an album, I know what it's going to sound like. I know the vibes to expect. And with Latto, it's the complete opposite. We've heard her rap in the past with some of these. There was a lot of songs that were pre-released that she put on this album.
Right.
So we know that she can rap. But now giving us this album where she's not just rapping, but she's performing and duetting with artists like we mentioned Tizo Touchdown, and slowing it down and giving us soft records with Mariah the Scientist, we are able to see a lot of dimension.
Experimenting and developing.
Yeah,
and
a lot of experimental.
How she can, she got a lot of tools in the shed.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of possibilities that we haven't seen with some other artists.
Okay. Well, I think I love that breakdown. That was an excellent breakdown. Shout out to Latto, Sugar Honey, Ice Tea. We will be coming back to you with a top 5 list women rappers. All right, before we wrap up, Xavier.
We're going to get canceled for that list.
We definitely are. Top 3 albums of the year so far. This is August 2024.
Right. And I know you like to keep start counting albums from January and December of last year too. So.
I say December. If you rolled out your album in December, I might count it in the what I like in 2024 because that's what I'm still listening to.
I'm not counting it. But top 3 in no specific orders. My top 3 albums of the year. I still will give it to Vince Staples.
Okay.
With Dark Times. I'm still going to give it to No Worries with Wylawd.
Okay.
And I will also say a sleeper, Lupe Fiasco with Samurai. That's my top 3 albums of the year so far. Honorable mentions, of course, Rhapsody, I would say is my 4.
Okay. Dang, man.
There were just a few albums that didn't hit the mark for me this year, such as the Don Toliver, the Gunna album. Mm-hmm. Blue Slides was a really great album to me. I might say that's my 5th. So if we're doing 5s, which we weren't, but if we're doing 5s, it's Vince Staples, Anderson .Paak with No Worries, Rhapsody, Blue Slides, Schoolboy Q.
Okay.
That's my 5.
I'm going to go No Worries.
And Lupe Fiasco, Samurai.
Okay. I'm going to go No Worries. I'm going to go Blue Lips. And I'm going to go the Larry June album that I just heard because I've really been liking it a lot.
Okay.
I think this is his best album to date.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is his best album to date. I'm gonna go K Tronada as well. I like that album.
You love that album.
I like that. I really did like that album.
You really love that album. That's unexpected, I would say.
Why you say that?
Because
I like some dance stuff.
It was very dancey.
Right.
It was very like European club music.
Right.
And I wouldn't expect you to be like that in your album of the year.
Hey, but sometimes you need to dance. Your Rhapsody has to be in that mix as well. Sir, how did you like that Sir album?
It was okay
to be in your top 5. It's
not enough to be
honorable mention of the year.
Yeah, definitely honorable mention of the year. Sir is always going to give us a great project,
right?
But what is the album with the eye on it? That is a classic album for Sir, and I don't think he's been able to quite repeat that moment yet. Right. But this last album from Sir is still a great project, and I'm definitely looking forward to what else we get from him coming in the future.
Right. But somebody that's also in the mix is like Gunna, and then that Vince Staples album.
The Gunna album was a miss for me.
I think it's something that's in the honorable mention.
Outside of Neck on the Yacht, I ain't really gone back to that album.
There's some records on there. I'll probably say about 3.
Okay.
That I really enjoy and go back to. So honorable mention, but yeah, those are our albums of the year. This is Everyday Hip Hop. We're back with another episode. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We are out here working, grinding, getting these videos out here.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, make sure you also follow our TikTok what is our TikTok?
Blam Media.
Blam Media.
Right there in the boom.
Leave it in the description down below for y'all.
There you go. All right. Peace.